Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. TUA Tagovailoa walked into Sunday's game against the Atlanta Falcons with a look that caught everyone's attention. Under the bright Miami sun, glinting off the teal helmets and white jerseys, one detail stood out: a sleek, mirrored visor attached to his helmet. Fans watching from the stands and at home immediately noticed something different about the Dolphins quarterback. It wasn't just a new accessory for style points. It was necessity turned superstition, a story that, in true TUA fashion, mixed resilience, confidence, and just a little bit of flair. That visor, as it turns out, might be here to stay. The story behind the visor began early Sunday morning. Tagovailoa woke up to a nasty surprise. His left eye was swollen shut. For a moment, it seemed like his availability for the game was in jeopardy. But the Dolphins' medical staff went to work, treating the issue and getting their quarterback ready to go. It was an ideal preparation, but when kickoff arrived, TUA wasn't just able to play. He looked as sharp as ever. With limited vision and a brand new visor, he threw 4 touchdown passes in a dominant 34-10 win over Atlanta, arguably his best performance of the season. It was the kind of game that reminded everyone why, despite the noise, TUA is still the leader of this Dolphins team. When he met with reporters on Tuesday, TUA's demeanor was light and confident. "I'm seeing a lot better than I could during the game," he said, flashing that familiar grin. But then came the part that made everyone chuckle. "I think the guys like the visor, so I'll stick with the visor." It was a line delivered with just enough charm to sound like classic TUA, equal parts humility and showmanship. The visor, it seems, isn't just about eye protection anymore. It's about identity. And in football, where superstition and swagger often go hand in hand, that matters more than most people realize. Of course, the timing of this resurgence couldn't be better for Miami. Just a week ago, Tagovailoa was under fire after a disastrous outing against the Cleveland Browns, a game in which he threw 3 interceptions and was eventually pulled. That moment opened the door for rookie quarterback Quinn Ewers, the much-discussed former Texas Longhorn who has been waiting for his chance. Ewers came in and went 5-for-8 for 53 yards, solid, but not spectacular. He was sacked twice and didn't throw a touchdown. It was a brief glimpse at what the future might look like, but it also reinforced something crucial. TUA is still the guy in Miami. Reports surfaced earlier this week from NFL Network's Cameron Wolfe that the Dolphins have once again adjusted their depth chart. Zach Wilson, who had previously lost the backup job to Ewers, is back as QB2, with Ewers sliding to the third-string role. It's a move that signals stability, at least for now. After a stretch of uncertainty, the Dolphins seem committed to sticking with experience behind TUA rather than potential. Wilson's time in New York may not have gone the way anyone expected, but as a backup in Miami, he offers something Ewers simply doesn't yet: familiarity with the speed and chaos of NFL defenses. Still, the attention remains squarely on TUA. His comments after the loss to Cleveland were raw and revealing. "Definitely not happy, not proud of where I'm at with my play," he said at the time. "I know I have to be a lot better, and I've been better for the Miami Dolphins in years past. But this isn't years past, this is this year." Those words, spoken in frustration, now sound almost prophetic. Because when he took the field against Atlanta, visor, swelling, and all, he looked like a quarterback reborn. His footwork was crisp, his reads were fast, and his throws had that trademark touch that made him one of the league's most efficient passers when healthy. It's almost poetic how football works sometimes. A week after being benched, TUA goes out and plays his best game of the season. A quarterback with one good eye picks apart a defense like he's seeing everything in slow motion. Maybe it's coincidence. Maybe it's that little edge that comes from feeling counted out. Or maybe, just maybe, it's that visor. The thing about confidence is, it doesn't always come from logic. Sometimes it comes from a look, a ritual, a piece of gear that makes a player feel untouchable. And for now, that's exactly what TUA's visor seems to be. There's also a subtle psychological layer to this. For teammates, seeing their quarterback show up in something new, looking locked in and ready to roll, can shift the entire vibe of a locker room. It's like watching a leader step onto the battlefield with a fresh piece of armor. TUA's teammates responded to it too. The Dolphins' offense was loose, efficient, and confident against Atlanta. Every receiver got involved. the offensive line held up, and the energy on the sideline felt different. When the face of your franchise plays with that kind of confidence, it's contagious. Meanwhile, for Quinn Ewers, this is a learning moment. The rookie has talent, no one questions that. His arm strength and accuracy were among the best in college football, and his back-to-back college football playoff semifinal runs with Texas proved he knows how to win. But the NFL is a different beast. The game moves faster, the windows are tighter, and the margin for error is almost non-existent. Being pushed down the depth chart again might sting, but it also gives Ewers time to absorb the pro game, study behind veterans like Wilson, and develop without the immense pressure of carrying a franchise right away. Many great quarterbacks started this way, learning in the background until their time came. For Miami fans, though, the real story is Tua's comeback. It's not just about stats, though his 24-26 performance with 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions certainly helps silence critics. It's about how he responded to adversity. The narrative around Tua has always been polarizing. Some see him as a precision passer with elite decision-making. Others view him as inconsistent and injury-prone. But moments like this one, playing through discomfort, bouncing back from a benching, and doing it all with quiet confidence, are what build legacies. And you can't ignore the optics, literally. The visor adds a layer of mystique. In football, optics matter more than most people admit. Think of LaDainian Tomlinson's dark visor back in the day, or Marshawn Lynch's reflective shield. Both became iconic symbols of players who looked and played with an edge. Tua's version may have started as a medical necessity, but now it's morphing into a signature look. It says, "I've been through it, I've seen it all, and now I'm ready for whatever comes next." As the Dolphins prepare for their Thursday night matchup against the Baltimore Ravens, all eyes will once again be on Tua, literally and figuratively. The Ravens' defense is one of the most aggressive in the league, known for disguising blitzes and forcing quarterbacks into mistakes. It's the perfect test to see if Tua's resurgence is the start of something real or just a one-week spike. But for now, the vibe in Miami is optimistic. The team is rallying behind their quarterback, and the offense seems to be clicking again. There's something almost cinematic about the whole thing. The quarterback who couldn't open his eye ends up seeing the field clearer than ever. The player who lost his rhythm suddenly finds it again, shielded behind a visor that's as much a metaphor as it is a piece of equipment. Tua Tagovailoa isn't just back. He's reinventing himself right in front of us. Maybe the visor will fade away eventually, once his eye is fully healed. Or maybe it'll become a permanent part of his identity, a small reminder of a moment when everything could have gone wrong, but didn't. What's certain is this: Miami has its leader back, and he's playing with fire. The Dolphins' locker room feels it, the fans feel it, and opposing teams are starting to feel it too. In a league where confidence can shift the course of a season, Tua's newfound edge, visor and all, might just be the thing that propels Miami forward. Whether it's superstition, style, or simple self-belief, something about this version of Tua feels different. He's seeing the field clearer, playing freer, and reminding everyone why. When he's locked in, he's one of the most dangerous quarterbacks in the game. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments. What's your take on the Fins this week? The Miami Dolphins are no strangers to drama, but what's happening behind the scenes right now might just be the most explosive chapter in recent team history. Sources close to the Dolphins' locker room have whispered about a brewing storm between TYREEK Hill, the team's star wide receiver, and head coach Mike McDANIEL. According to insiders, the tension escalated to a point where Hill reportedly confronted McDaniel directly, and the confrontation has left players, staff, and fans buzzing with speculation. The rumor mill is spinning at full speed, and everyone is asking the same question. What does this mean for Tua Tagovailoa, the quarterback whose success has been so closely tied to Hill's presence on the field? The story allegedly began after a particularly tense practice session. TYREEK Hill, known for his fiery competitiveness and relentless drive, was frustrated with the play calling and the offensive schemes being implemented by McDaniel. Sources claim that Hill, unable to contain his emotions, voiced his concerns in a way that some insiders are describing as explosive. The phrase reportedly thrown during the confrontation, "This is how you ruin Tua Tagovailoa," has been circulating among those close to the team, fueling speculation about a possible rift that could affect not just the locker room atmosphere, but also the team's performance on the field. People familiar with the situation suggest that Hill is concerned about how McDaniel's strategies might be impacting Tua's growth and consistency as a quarterback, pointing to missed opportunities in recent games where Hill's skill set could have been better utilized. What makes this situation particularly juicy is the timing. The Dolphins are in a critical stretch of their season, with playoff implications hanging in the balance. Tyreek Hill is arguably the most electrifying player in the league, and any discord involving him is bound to make headlines. According to insiders, the confrontation wasn't just a heated discussion. It was described as face-to-face, unfiltered, and loaded with intensity. Hill is said to have emphasized the stakes, warning McDaniel that his current approach could jeopardize Tua's development and the team's chances at success. While coaches are expected to handle criticism from players, Hill's reputation as both a superstar and a fiercely independent player seems to have amplified the impact of his words. Of course, the Dolphins organization has not officially commented on the matter, but sources indicate that internal discussions are underway to mend fences and prevent this from spilling into public drama. Players are reportedly taking sides quietly, with some sympathizing with Hill's perspective and others supporting McDaniel's coaching philosophy. Tensions like these are often part of football locker rooms, but the fact that it involves a high-profile duo like Hill and McDaniel makes it all the more tantalizing for fans and media alike. The rumor mill has also hinted that other veterans in the locker room are concerned about the potential ripple effects this confrontation could have on team chemistry, particularly on the offensive unit where timing, trust, and cohesion are essential. Adding fuel to the fire, sources suggest that Hill's frustration isn't limited to strategy alone. There are murmurs about disagreements over in-game adjustments, target distribution, and how certain plays are designed to involve him. Hill, being one of the fastest and most versatile receivers in the league, reportedly feels that the offensive scheme sometimes underutilizes his unique skill set. Meanwhile, McDaniel, known for his meticulous approach and innovative offensive concepts, is said to be equally adamant about his game plans and play designs. The clash of visions, coupled with the high stakes of the season, seems to have brought the underlying tension into the open, creating what insiders are calling a critical juncture for the Dolphins' season. What's particularly intriguing to observers is how this confrontation might impact Tua Tagovailoa. Hill's comments suggest that the wide receiver sees the quarterback as being at risk due to strategic decisions. In other words, Hill's concern seems to be that McDaniel's approach could limit Tua's ability to reach his potential, putting both the player and the team in a precarious position. Some analysts are speculating that if the tension isn't addressed swiftly, it could manifest in miscommunications on the field, dropped opportunities, or even a decline in Tua's confidence. The fact that Hill would speak so openly about Tua's future indicates just how deeply invested he is in the quarterback's success, and it raises questions about the dynamics between the players and the coaching staff moving forward. Even more dramatic is the idea that this confrontation could signal the beginning of a shift in the Dolphins' internal hierarchy. Hill is one of the most dominant offensive weapons in the NFL, and a player of his caliber openly challenging the head coach is unprecedented in some ways. While veteran players often push back or voice opinions, the nature of this confrontation, allegedly direct, pointed, and focused on the quarterback, suggests that Hill is trying to assert influence over offensive decisions. Observers are already debating whether this could lead to concessions from McDaniel, adjustments in the game plan, or even a re-evaluation of leadership dynamics within the team. The rumor mill is alive with speculation that the coaching staff is now under pressure to navigate not just XS and OS, but also the emotional landscape of a superstar athlete who refuses to stay silent. Sources indicate that Hill's fiery demeanor and McDaniel's meticulous nature have always created some friction, but until now, it was mostly managed behind closed doors. What makes this incident particularly noteworthy is the alleged intensity and specificity of Hill's statements regarding Tua. It's not just a general complaint. It's a warning, a challenge, and a public declaration in the eyes of those who were reportedly present. While the Dolphins are known for having a disciplined locker room culture, insiders suggest that this episode has shaken even seasoned veterans, sparking debates over leadership, accountability, and the best way to move forward as a team. As news of the confrontation spreads, fans are understandably divided. Some sympathize with Hill, praising his dedication to ensuring TUA's development and the team's success. Others side with McDANIEL, arguing that coaches must retain authority and that a single player, no matter how talented, cannot dictate strategy. Social media has become a whirlwind of speculation, with hashtags, memes, and animated debates igniting around the issue. Meanwhile, pundits and commentators are dissecting every available detail, analyzing past games for evidence of the tension, and predicting possible outcomes if the rift is not resolved. The narrative has all the hallmarks of a classic locker room drama: high stakes, superstar personalities, and the looming shadow of a season that could define careers. While it remains unclear what immediate actions will be taken, the Dolphins organization reportedly recognizes the urgency of addressing the situation. Team leadership is said to be weighing options, from mediated discussions between Hill and McDANIEL to subtle adjustments in play calling that could satisfy both parties. There's also talk of increased communication within the locker room to ensure that TUA, caught in the middle, is fully supported and shielded from unnecessary distractions. Insiders suggest that the goal is to transform what could become a divisive incident into an opportunity for growth, both for the players involved and the team as a whole. What makes this story truly captivating is that, unlike some controversies that fizzle out, the Hill-McDANIEL confrontation carries long-term implications. Beyond the immediate impact on TUA's performance, it raises questions about how elite talent interacts with coaching authority, how player feedback is integrated into game planning, and how internal dynamics shape a team's public identity. Observers are already predicting that the ripple effects could be felt well into the season, influencing not just game outcomes, but also roster decisions, contract negotiations, and even fan perception. The Dolphins, a franchise with championship aspirations, now face a challenge that tests both leadership and diplomacy in equal measure. In the midst of all this, Tyreek Hill remains at the center of attention, his influence both feared and revered. Sources close to the situation claim that Hill is not seeking confrontation for its own sake. Rather, he is motivated by a fierce desire to protect TUA and maximize the team's potential. Meanwhile, McDANIEL is said to be evaluating the confrontation carefully, balancing respect for Hill's perspective with his own vision for the offense. The outcome of this standoff is uncertain, but one thing is clear: the Dolphins' locker room is simmering with tension, and the decisions made in the coming days could redefine the trajectory of the team's season. Whether this drama ultimately strengthens or destabilizes the Dolphins remains to be seen, but fans and insiders alike are glued to every development, hungry for updates on one of the NFL's most riveting behind-the-scenes sagas. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.